I wanted to make a video about the Somali daycare thing and I guess why I'm a NEET. So a NEET is if you're unfamiliar, it stands for not in education, employment, or training, basically, or somewhere along the lines of that. So being a NEET is it's basically dropping out of society and um, just deciding not to contribute at all. Basically, if you're familiar with the hikikomori subculture in Japan, where they basically they're shut-ins, they just stay inside all day and consume media on their computers, and they just basically rot away in their rooms. Being a NEET is somewhat analogous to that. But the reason I wanted to tie it into the Somalian daycare thing is that these people just it just makes working a humiliation ritual. Like, why would I work a job that I hate for $20 an hour and waste my life away when fucking Somalians just show up, make daycares, steal millions of dollars in taxpayer money, and they just do nothing and they make more money than I'll ever see in my entire life. So I'm saying the only logical move for if someone who respects themselves is to just not work a job, is to just not contribute to society at all, because this society hates you. There's no point in working. Is that you may as well just be Diogenes, just living in the barrel on the street of Athens. I mean, it's pretty obvious though that this country's it's just over. It's declining. There's nothing. Yeah, there's nothing to defend anymore. I think everyone viscerally senses that this country is over. Well, everyone agrees that we live in a profoundly sick society, but everyone has different ideas as to why that is. You know, you have those like far right people who think it's because we have too many immigrants and that we're kind of ruining the fabric of American society. And maybe there's some truth to that. I mean, if you import 100 million Africans, is the country going to be the same? Probably not. I mean, that kind of opens up discussion, though, about, I guess, are there differences between ethnicities and races, or are we blank slates, or are our behaviors and whatnot genetic? Which I'm not really. I'm getting tired. uh, which I'm not really here to comment on. But maybe there's some truth to that. I mean, there's also leftists or like Marxist types who think that this is just late stage capitalism, that it has nothing to do with ethnicity or race, and that this is just the natural endpoint of a capitalist system, and that it'll eventually just sort of eat itself and collapse. And I don't know, maybe there's also truth in that. What was I saying? But like I said, I think everyone just viscerally senses that this country is dying, that there's nothing worth defending anymore, that we should just let it burn to the ground. And that I think our ruling class senses it especially, and they're just trying to steal as much money as they can and pillage as much wealth as they can before it all rots to the ground. Like that thing with, I think Trump pledged to send aid to Israel for 20 years. They know that basically that U.S. public sentiment towards Israel is declining, so they're just trying to take as much as they can now. But like I said, I think this whole thing is just a reflection of how fucked this country is, and just our society is rotting and dying before our eyes. Yeah, it's like I said, I don't see the reason to work a job if I'm gonna get taxed like 40% or some shit, and most of it just goes to people who are gonna steal it, and it's just humiliating to do it. I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm a single young man though. If I was like a man with a job, or if I had a family and kids to feed, then I would have to work a job. But right now, I could just fucking do nothing and rot away and waste my life away, as I guess I will continue to do. It's kind of an interesting video to make about. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a nihilist, really. I just I have too much self-respect to support a country that hates me. I do feel a little guilty though, to some degree, because both of my parents are immigrants, so I kind of have. I mean, I guess hypocritical is a better term than guilty, because both of my parents are immigrants. So, and I was put through like public schooling and shit. So if I don't work a job, I am part of the problem, and I am also a net tax drain, or I'm a drain on the. Or you know what I'm saying? I will have consumed more than I've provided back into the system, but I don't know. I guess just. I mean, if those guys running the daycare can do it, then I guess I will too. Or I guess I will. I will not contribute to society. Yeah. I guess just letting go is the only winning move here. There's nothing to defend in this country. It's just over. Yeah. Oh well. I mean, it was good while it lasted, I guess. Europe is also fucked. All of Western civilization is just in decline. Although Europe has different issues. Europe has like tens of millions of Middle Easterners and Africans who hate Europeans flooding into the country. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Because, you know, they're different religions, they're different ethnicities, they look different, they have different views towards things like morality, women, all that, democracy. A lot of these people come from places that are just not democratic at all, which is funny. They come from these low trust societies where they just, and so I just think it's no surprise that they just show up in Europe and they overwhelmingly commit crime and they steal shit and they just don't work a job and they don't contribute to the society. But that whole fucking thing is just gonna implode. Those countries are gonna go broke because they're subsidizing all these immigrants. Like, think of how much money it costs. I don't know if it's true. I think I saw like a thing from the Netherlands where they calculated basically the net fiscal impact immigrants from different places had over their lifetimes. And basically only European and East Asian immigrants provided a positive net tax benefit to the country. And immigrants from like the Middle East and Africa and Latin America ended up taking more than they give. So, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of an interesting concept, or an interesting thing to think about. That maybe Africa is poor because on average those populations, or maybe the reason they never developed civilization historically, because on average they take more than they give. And that would explain why European countries and East Asian countries were so advanced historically. But I guess that's all I had to say. Just being a NEET is the only rational decision in 2025. Just let the country rot and burn. It's a fire truck. Anyways. I feel like it's cliche now to bring this up, but there was that like mouse utopia thing where they put mice in a cage and they gave them like perfect conditions. And like after a few generations, the whole thing just fucking collapsed and it just stopped working. I know it's cliche to draw parallels between that and humans now, but maybe this is just mouse utopia. I mean, there's some parallels definitely, like looks maxing is one. It's just such a degenerate thing. How these guys are they're just grooming themselves so that they're not actually useful in any manner, but they just try to maximize their looks so that women now will like them and want to talk to them, which I find so degenerate and appalling. Because it used to be that you could just be like a decent, hardworking man and you could get a woman to want to talk to you, but now I guess you have to fucking look smacks and you have to fucking act like a doll in order to find relationships now. The whole thing is just so bizarre now. I don't know. I mean, it'll crumble. Every empire rises and falls, I guess. And this is the end of the American Empire. I guess that's all I had to say. Like.